This is a world where no one can speak, because there is a demon locked inside. Once someone speaks, the demon will descend upon the world. Recently, 3 strange incidents have occurred. The investigation team rushed to the scene upon hearing the news. After the director made a gesture to be silent, he reminded them to look at the sign. No talking, no use of any electronic devices. This rule puzzled Lisa. After handing over their cell phones, the believers gave them handwritten boards. This was their method of communication. The abbot led them through a tunnel to the priest's tomb. It turned out that just a few days earlier, a believer had heard noises coming from the coffin. Upon opening it, they found that the priest's body showed no signs of decay, even though he had been dead for over 2 years. This is the first miracle. Luke was about to extract the priest's genetic sample when he was interrupted by the believers. It turned out that the monastery had a bias against women. Lisa chose to avoid the situation. After she left, they carried the priest's body to the attic. At that moment, a strange cabinet caught Luke's attention. It was leaking an unknown liquid. Luke wanted to know what was inside. Neil raised the writing board to indicate that it contained a sealed demon. Luke tried to listen, but it was quiet inside. When he touched it, he was stopped by the believers, who told him that this was the second miracle. Lisa was waiting at the door, and saw the nun who had knocked over the wine bottle. She went over to help, and together they pushed the bottle back into the cellar. Just then, the abbot arrived with a few people. At the abbot's gesture, the nun untied the bandage on her hand. The stigmata on her palm were revealed. This was the third miracle. Neil raised the writing board. After the abbot agreed, they climbed over the wall and came outside, finally able to speak. Lisa said the nun had been pushing a cart for a long time. That's why there were marks on her hands. Neil believed that the soil here might contain some kind of calcification, which caused the priest's body to remain incorrupt. So Lisa found the nun and explained to her. The marks on her hands might have been caused by pushing the cart, but the nun gestured for the believers to leave, blocked the door with a chair, and then undressed. Under Lisa's curious gaze, she unwrapped the bandages on her feet, revealing the same sacred mark as on her palms. What was even more surprising was that there was another sacred mark bleeding under her ribs, identical to the one in the mural on the wall. This left Lisa speechless. After dinner, Lisa rested in the warehouse where the statues were stored. The nun instructed her to cover her mouth before sleeping. Seeing the skeleton holding a scythe by her bed, Lisa kept reassuring herself, and even uttered a defiant remark. However, at that moment, the cabinet in the attic opened, and the demon broke through the seal. The skeleton turned its head, approached Lisa with the scythe in hand, and even took the time to pick its teeth. At the moment of crisis, an alarm woke her up. It turned out the alarm was sounded by the abbess, because the cabinet had been opened, and liquid was dripping from it. The curse had officially arrived. The surrounding believers fell down, screaming in agony. Eerie stigmata appeared on their bodies, and they began to wriggle. At that moment, screams came from downstairs. It turned out that the nun had fallen ill. Lisa untied her clothes, and discovered an even larger stigmata. The abbot called a priest to exorcise the nun. When the priest anointed her with holy water, the nun spat out black blood. Then she began to scratch the stigmata. At that moment, a large number of flies flew out from the wound. Luke went outside to look it up online. It was a type of insect called a skin fly. They reproduce at an incredibly fast rate. He immediately rushed back to the room, and poured white wine on the nun's stigmata. Under the effect of the alcohol, the skin flies were eliminated. It turned out that all these phenomena were caused by the skin flies. When the priest's body was carried out, the skin flies were also brought out. They lay eggs under human skin, which is why the skin appears to wriggle. Their natural enemy is strong alcohol. After dawn, they carried the priest's body back to the tomb. At that moment, a skin fly flew over, and crawled into the priest's mouth.